Alright, so I'm going to be showing how to open up and disassemble this DELL Precision 5520. Alright, so we're going to be using a PH1 or JS1 as well as a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Alright, so first thing we're going to do is remove all the T5 or Torx 5 screws from around the frame. Alright, you want to keep the screws in order because they can be different size, shape, and length. The way I do that is I put them flat side down like this on my desk in the pattern I remove them. So this rectangular shape, we're just going to put the screws like that on my desk. Alright, if this video helps you out, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade or repair their devices as well. And if it helps you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and continue removing all these screws. Okay. Alright, I believe this model might have different configurations. So we're going to see, the customer is hoping that we can add an extra SSD in here and keep the old one in as well. So we will find out. Otherwise, I believe this is currently using a M.2 SATA SSD. I'm not sure if it supports PCIe NVMe. I guess we'll find that out as well. I'll test that. Alright, so we're going to open this up and we're going to use a JS1 or PH1 screwdriver to remove those. Okay, these middle screws are much longer. It looks like the ones all around the frame appear to be about the same size, but I always like to keep them in order just in case. Alright, so 2 screws underneath. Let's go ahead now and try and get this bottom cover off. Usually what I'll do, we'll see if it works, is after I remove all the screws, I'll get my fingernails in the gap here, and then I'll use my thumb on the palm rest, not on the trackpad, but on the palm rest, and I'll push with my thumb and pull with my fingers. And as you can see, the cover is separating away, so we're going to do the same thing on this side as well. Okay, if you can't do this with fingernails, you can always use plastic pry tools, of course. Alright, so the middle part where the trackpad is kind of stuck a lot stronger. So what we're going to do, now that we got the front side here out, we're going to work our way around the side, and actually it popped out really easily. So after I lift it on here, you can see it just popped off. So you want to be careful. It might be more difficult for you, but for me it was relatively simple. Sad to say, this model currently is using a much larger battery. So there are other models. I actually checked online before doing this, and I thought it was using a SATA regular hard drive, because some models they'll use a smaller battery that only takes up this much space. They'll put a hard drive here, and then if you see this connector here, they'll actually mount a SATA hard drive connector here. So this is like a push down connector. Alright, looks like there's an unused connector here, JFP. So this is probably for models with a fingerprint reader. Alright, if you're wondering what this large battery model is, the model number is right there, 6GTPY. Alright, so there you go, in case you need that. There's there's a M.2 SATA SSD. CPU and GPU are soldered to the motherboard. GPU's here, CPU's here. DC jack charge port connector is right there. It does go underneath the hinge, so if you want to take this out, you're probably going to have to open up the hinge about 90 degrees, undo these screws, and then maybe you can pull it over a little bit to move this out of the way. Okay, because there are these 2 raised mounts here that make it harder to kind of you can't just lift it out easily. Right, battery connector is right there. Underneath here is the LCD LVDS connector. I'm not going to mess with all this because the customer just wants me to upgrade the SSD. We're going to pop the RAM out, so there's 2 tabs, just pull them to the sides, then it pops up, you can pull it out. This looks like DDR4. Yep, this is PC4 2400T 16 gig stick, so I guess this has 32 gigs of RAM. Right, maybe they upgraded it on their own at one point. I don't know if it actually came with that. That's a lot of RAM considering it only has a 256 gig SSD. There's this connector here, which is likely for touchscreen or webcam. fan connector right there. Wireless card is here. The antennas, if you remove it, you take this one screw out, pop this metal piece out, and then to remove the antennas, you pull up from the tails. All right, don't try and pry it up from here. Okay, not really much else to look at. Another fan connector here. And I think that's all I'm going to go over. There are two connectors here, likely for keyboard. It says JKB, so keyboard and JTP touchpad, all right? And then you got a little connector here, which goes to the speaker. So this tiny one there is for the speaker. And then this wire runs along to connect this speaker to the other one. So they both connect with that one cable. I'm not sure where this cable is going, but again, I'm not going to be ripping stuff out. Yeah, all right, let's go ahead and try putting the PCIe NVMe SSD in. We're going to remove this screw with the JAS1 screwdriver. Right, pops up, and then you can go ahead and pull that back. I'm going to set that aside there. Let's go ahead and grab this PCIe NVMe SSD, put it in at an angle. All right, we're going to drop this down, and then we'll get this screw in. All right, now let's go ahead and open this up and see if it boots up properly. Some Dells are picky. When you change the SSD, it might need you to do something in the BIOS. So let's see, I'm going to just power it up and see if it starts spinning the little thing down here. Right, it's taking a while to boot up. All right, I see the screen lit up. If it starts spinning, I'm going to move the screen out of view because just in case it shows customers information. Okay, it is spinning the dots, as you can see. So I'm going to move this out of view, and then I'm going to most likely have to edit the partitions, but it looks like it's going to work. So we should be good to go. We're just going to put the bottom cover back on. I'm going to have to migrate everything over or to fix the partitions, and we should be good to go. We're going to put the bottom cover back on. Well, I need to make sure that it actually boots up completely. Right now it doesn't look like, I don't know, it's slow. Okay, blue screen, and it said inaccessible boot device. It did spin around for a while, so I have a feeling it's going to work. But I'm probably going to have to manually fix the install. One way I can check is I'm going to try running a Windows installer USB. So I'm going to plug this USB in here. This is my Windows installer USB. And I'm going to press F12 to boot from it, and then just see if it shows the partitions in the installer. So I'm going to turn this back on. Okay. Fan spinning, sounds like it's starting up. Okay, I'm pressing F12. Oh, oops, turned it back off, I think. Pressing F12. Sometimes if it says inaccessible boot device, you might have to change some BIOS settings to get it to work with a PCIe NVMe SSD. So I'll try that as well. Let's see, is it gonna boot up right? So I'm going to press F2 to go to the BIOS settings, and I'll check that real quick. Assuming it's going to boot up. It's taking forever. It's stuck on a black screen. Nothing is showing up. There we go. Okay, I'm pressing F2. It's going to the BIOS now. Alright, so let's see what BIOS settings we got. Battery information, we got, okay, so it is seeing the SSD here. So that looks right. Boot options, UEFI, advanced legacy options allowed. Okay. Okay, won't ask for BIOS system configuration. So SATA, it's on AHCI, that's good. SATA M.2, PCIe SSD, it does see that. Smart reporting on, USB boot. Okay, Thunderbolt is enabled. Security level, USB power share, audio, bright keyboard, touchscreen, miscellaneous stuff, video stuff, security. Okay, we don't need to set any passwords here. TPM is on. CompuTrace disabled. There's so many settings here. Okay. Let's see. Secure boot shouldn't matter. It's disabled though. Alright, what else? Let's go down here and then go through everything. Intel SGX, I don't know what that is. Software card extensions. Performance, multi-core, speed step, C-state, turbo boost, hyper-threading, power management. Okay, we don't need to change any of that. So many settings here. And I'm not seeing one that would mess up the boot, so I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. Virtualization, all of these look fine. Yeah, I don't see anything that would honestly affect the boot with from the NVMe. So it might just be it didn't like the way it cloned. So I might have to clone it the other way with a different software from boot. Let's see what happens. I'll let it try booting one more time, and then we'll go from there. Let me check my phone real quick. Okay, let's see if it's gonna boot. Okay, nope. It's trying, it's spinning, but I think it's just gonna fail again. And I think that might just be because when I cloned the SSD, I think the original, yeah, it says inaccessible boot device. So I think what's going on is when I cloned it, the original drive had BitLocker or something on it. So it didn't boot up right. I mean, it didn't clone right. So I'm gonna see what happens. I'm gonna power this off and I'm gonna try cloning it one more time. But anyways, basically that's pretty much all there is to this. It does support PCIe, NVMe, and SATA. Alright, so you shouldn't have an issue with that as far as that goes. I'm not going to show how to put the screws back in because that's pretty straightforward. But I do have to at least put the bottom cover on and do this real quick to get it to work again. So that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so we're going to get this back on. We're going to go ahead and just put the cover in place. Alright, pretty straightforward. Cover just goes back on, line it up, and then push everything into place. This doesn't really have strong clips holding it in, but we'll flip this over and it should boot up now. But yeah, other than that, just get all the screws back in and you should be good to go. That's pretty much all there is to it. Again, hopefully this video helped you guys out. If it did, make sure to like, subscribe, share my channel with others so that they can learn how to upgrade and repair their devices as well. If it helped you save a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps and allows me to continue making these videos for a living. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Let's drop this. Bye.